In this video, I want to catalog 3 different ways people have documented public space. Their works aim to better connect people to the places they live and participate in. I hope that this can be a resource for others seeking information on these topics. These examples capture different views of public space during different periods and locations in America. They are categorized and presented in order of history, moment, and lost futures. In describing these events or phenomena, the creator's engagement and reconsideration of public space is the connecting theme. By creating these works, they can inform, manifest, or evoke a better understanding of public spaces and their reach within the public realm. In the examination and meticulous cataloging of real estate holdings in New York City, the artist Hans Haake brings real-world problems into the conservation of museum space. Haake's work began in early data visualization during the 1970s that sought to engage and include the viewer. Public documents, surveys, and advertisements were displayed as art to begin discussions about ownership politics and exploitation. By digging through records, the history taking place in the city behind closed doors could be revealed to the public. Sapolsky et al. Manhattan Real Estate Holdings is the name of a work by Hans Haake that is a study of property ownership in New York. It relied on public records, data, maps, and photos. This information, paired with details about large real estate companies buying property in the East Village, Harlem, and the Lower East Side, worked to reveal corrupt shell companies taking advantage of these struggling neighborhoods in the 1960s and 70s. In the famous parking lot and boombox experiments conducted by the Flaming Lips, overlooked space is activated and people are included in the creation of a new art form there. Famous for their experimentation in music and presentation, frontman Wayne Coyne devised an experimental recording process wherein many participants would play tape decks as an orchestra. These were performed during the mid to late 90s and as a part of the annual South by Southwest Film, Music, and Media Festival in 1997. In each scenario, people were asked to bring their cars or boomboxes. Tapes with layers of a song or just tones and sounds were distributed. The parking lot experiments specifically were held in a nondescript area outside Oklahoma City. Coyne made a handwritten map to use for directions as this predated the GPS system we use today. The parking lot is in a low-rise suburban area outside the city, and the sign mentioned on the map is still present above the garage today.
This is just an extension of the Flaming Lips. Out of every car,
either by using a specific diagram of the way it would be performed or simply conducting it like an orchestra, the gathering was guided to produce music together.
And each one sort of has a bit to play in all this, and everybody turns their tape decks on at the same time, and whatever I put on the tapes comes out of it.
For just a little while longer, then you can sort of spread out and get to the edge, it'll be quicker.
I mean, just the thought of all the car speakers clashing.
Number 6.
These gatherings consisted of hundreds of tapes and volunteers. They convened together as a chaotic group or as a team.
It's just sort of a graph of all the cars in the parking lot, and little by little it's managed to sort of come together as if it was sort of a plot for an orchestra.
And the experiments took place. Not meant to be recorded, just experienced or participated in.
They can tape in, and at the same time as everyone else, they play it.
Yeah, you can get that louder, number 16.
Here, you get it amplified 30, 40 different times, all unpredictably coming out of this, this sort of man-made amplifier here of a garage parking lot.
A masterful execution of medium, message, and method, live music, the human machine, and the perfection of chaos came together in harmony. More creation than critique, the use of a parking lot for inclusive creation offers a solution. The primitive act of making music immediately humanizes the space, overpowering the brutality of a car-based structure. For the final example, I want to call attention to two YouTube creators that document the spaces of dying malls in late capitalism. They focus on not just the history of each mall's development and ownership, but the impact these spaces had on our communities and psyche, good and bad.
Hey everyone, this is Dan Bell, and this is my video tour of the Forest Fair Village Mall in Forest Park, Ohio. So you'll notice the sign here says Cincinnati Mall, and this video is titled Forest Fair Village. So what's the deal with that? Well, I will tell you. In July of 1988, the mall officially opened as Forest Fair Village. In 2002, it was sold, and the new owners decided to spend $70 million to revamp the mall. With that revamp, they changed the name and called the place Cincinnati Mills. In 2009, the mall changed hands yet again.
The channel This is Dan Bell has been producing videos on this topic and other facets of Americana since 2015. The exploration of these malls is not just spatial but psychological and sociological as well. As commerce and human interaction relied less on public spaces as we transitioned into the new millennium, even these non-places can now be seen as having value, as they were real places. Dan's videos aim to capture the memories of these places and the impact they had before they are completely gone. The channel, called simply SAL, explores dying malls and discusses the origins and root of their demise, from bad real estate to failing cities. The politics of the period and origins of the site's acquisition are documented. Information regarding transaction amounts and histories for each mall are discussed. Sal documents the trends, such as malls' tendencies to be built on slag heaps, as well as the reciprocal impact the mall has had on communities it serves. These fabricated, mundane, non-places are given history and character somehow, something they did not have when new.
On the morning of Wednesday, September 18th, 1968, Montgomery Ward celebrated its official ribbon-cutting and grand opening. Present at the ceremony was then Stanton Mayor Richard A. Farrier, who said, quote, "The opening of this beautiful new Montgomery Ward store is an act of progress which will benefit the entire area, and is a demonstration of private enterprise growing in the United States under the finest system of government yet devised." Close quote.
These videos explore the floundering cathedrals to consumption of the late 20th century. The evocation of nostalgia here can be powerful, and there is discomfort as well. Why should we mourn this junk space? Hauntology is the term devised by Derrida to describe the feeling of remorse we have for lost futures, possibilities that could never be or never were. This past-future contradiction is characteristic of dead malls, as they are something that was always sold to us as being a constant. The mall was always insidiously optimistic and misleadingly enterprising. So to see it as dead is a stark reminder that the future is not certain, like capitalism can lead one to believe. So this may not be the end of history after all. These three examples reshape the way people see a place. Haake directs people's attention towards the historical and ethical issues regarding property and ownership of the city. This is done by physically documenting these relationships. Public records spanning different periods in New York City are placed in a museum to activate it as a place to counteract corruption. The Flaming Lips seized the moment by appropriating a parking garage in the Oklahoma City suburbs. The inclusion of the public in a purely utilitarian space to produce music together makes for a striking reminder of the power of humanity at its purest level. By documenting dying malls, Dan and Sal are creating a record of the financial and real estate complications each location experienced in the face of late capitalism. We may never see an era like the 20th century again, but these videos capture the surface-deep comfort of consumption we thought would persist forever.